Hello my viewer, welcome and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Kate and I do crochet, and today I'm back with another tutorial. We are doing this kabag. It's a small kabag. It's called a Danish hat, so we are working on this today. You can make this big to be a handbag, or a medium size to be a purse. So with this you can throw some small items like your chewing gums, some coins, your keys, you can throw here. So there goes some coins, and there you have it. You can also throw your keys like that. Only the small items you can throw here. So now to do this we need two colors of yarn. With this I did with white, and this color here is not as showing. It's not a it is not showing as it is. This is hot pink, but it's showing like red, but it's very nice, it's very sweet. So now we are doing this, and we are using these colors, orange and gray, dark gray. I like the combination of these two colors, and so I've already done one part of this. You do two parts which look the same. I've already done the gray part, and this is it. This is how it looks like. So now, because I've already done this, we are doing the orange part. When we are done doing the orange part, it's now we start interlocking them. They are interlocked. So let's start doing the orange part. So now to start this, I'm using this robin small size, and so to start this we need to make a chain. So because this yarn I find it a bit thinner, I use 2 strands of it, because I don't like using the small hooks, just like using the medium sizes. So I use it like that. Now we need to make a slip knot. There is mine, and I'm using this crochet hook. I think this is my favorite. It's 3.5, and so we make a chain of 30. Let's make a chain of 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here is mine. So now we are going to skip the 30th chain, and on the 29th we do single crochet. In the next stitch we do single crochet. So basically we are working with single crochets. We are making single crochets to the end. So now, because we skipped the first stitch, we are remaining with 29 that we are going to be working on. So now single crochet up to the 28th stitch. I get you on the 28th stitch, you leave the last stitch. I'll show you what to do next. So now I work my 28th stitch there. Now on the 29th stitch, we are going to make 3 single crochets there. So 1, 2, and 3. So I have 3 single crochet in that last stitch. Now we need to mark the first stitch of the 3 stitches. We did 3 single crochets in this stitch. Now mark the first stitch that you did there, and I use iron of different color to mark that, so that when we get back there we know where we started doing our increases. And mark also the third stitch, like that. Now turn your work. We are not now coming back the way we were doing. Now we are turning the other side. We've just done this part, so now we are turning to the other side. Now when you turn, we now work again 29 stitches. Just as we were doing on the other side. So do this to the end of this row, and I meet you on the last stitch. So in the last stitch, it's where we started when we were doing this other side. So now again there we are going to do 3 single crochets. And we mark as we marked the other side. This will be our increasing points. So we mark the first stitch and this last stitch that we just did. You mark there, and now continue doing single crochets until you get to this other point with your stitch markers. So continue doing single crochets. And I meet you on the other side. So now I'm there, and we need to do our increases. So in the first stitch where we did put our marker, we increase by doing 2 single crochets in that stitch. Again, you remove your stitch marker and now place it in the first stitch of increase. In the next stitch we increase as well. We had not marked that one. In the last stitch where we marked, we also do increase by doing 2 single crochets in that same stitch. Now remove your stitch marker, place it in the last stitch which you just did your increases. Again, continue doing single crochets until you get to the other side where we have our stitch markers. We are doing single crochets throughout this work. It's very simple, so continue doing single crochets and I meet you on the other side. So I'm there. I do my increase of 2 single crochets in that same stitch. I remove my stitch marker from the previous row and place it in the first stitch of my increase. At that point, in the next stitch which is not marked, I also do increase. In the next stitch with the marker, I do increase. Of 2 stitches. I remove my marker and place it at that point. I single crochet in the next stitch. I single crochet in the next stitch. So now when you look at it, it's like that. On the sides we are curving. We don't want it to be straight. So now we have done this part. This part. As you can see, they are the same size. So now what we want to do now is to make these slits. And to do that, from here, we need to make a chain of 26. You make a chain of 26 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here is my 26 chain. Now we count on this side 26 stitches. We skip them. And now this is my 27th. We make a single crochet in that stitch. Once you skip the 26 stitches here, you single crochet on the 27th. And if you are doing your stitch markers, the 27th stitch is the one that is just before the one with the stitch marker, so you single crochet in that. So now the next stitch is the one with our marker, so that means we need to do increases there. So in that stitch, do 2 single crochets. So in the previous row, when we were doing our increases, we were increasing in all the 3 stitches. We were doing 2 stitches in the same stitch. But now in this row, we are going to do our increases after 1 stitch. So now I've done my increase here. In the next stitch, I do 1 single crochet. In the next stitch, I do my increase, 2 single crochets in that same stitch. In the next stitch, I do 1 single crochet. In the next stitch, I do my increase. In the next stitch, I do 1 single crochet. So that's it. Now we can do away with our stitch markers on this side. Now single crochet in the next stitch. Now again we want to make another slit on this side as we did with this side. We chain 26, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So here is my 26 chain. Again we count 26 stitches around here, and on the 27th we make we make one single crochet, and my 27th stitch is the one before my stitch marker. So in that stitch I do single crochet. So in the next stitch, it's where we have our stitch marker. We do our increase. So we do what we did with the other side on this side. So increase in that stitch. In the next stitch, one single crochet. In the next stitch, we do increase. The next stitch, one single crochet. Increase in the next stitch. The next stitch, one single crochet. In the next stitch, we increase, two single crochets in the same stitch, and in the last stitch one single crochet. Now we can remove our stitch markers. Now at this point we need to work on this chain. So remember we did 26 stitches, we also skipped 26 stitches. So along here we are going to do 26 single crochets. So let's do that. Single crochet in every stitch along this chain. So now I've worked 26 stitches. Now I'm at the increase corner. So in the previous row we were increasing after one stitch. Now in this round we are going to increase after 2 stitches. So we are going to increase on the 3rd stitch. So now single crochet in the 1st stitch, single crochet in the 2nd, and increase in the 3rd. Again, one single crochet, one single crochet in the next, 2 single crochets in the next stitch. That's our increase. In the next, one single crochet, one single crochet, 2 single crochets in the same stitch for increase, and one single crochet. So now we have again our chain of 26, and we need to do single crochets up to this other end. So single crochet all the way to this other point. On the last stitch I complete my single crochets there. So now we increase as we did our increase on this side, 2 single crochets in the next 2 stitches, each stitch one single crochet, and in the other stitch, the 3rd stitch, we do our increase, one single crochet, one single crochet, 2 single crochets in the 3rd stitch. Again, one single crochet, one single crochet, 2 single crochets in 3rd stitch. So continue working this until you get to where our slit starts. And now we are on the last stitch of that. We've just done our increase. This is how it's coming out. So now we want to do again single crochets here. We single crochet all the way. When you get to the corner, now we are going to increase on the 4th stitch. Again, come this way, increase on the 4th stitch. We finish here. Again, we single crochet. When you get here, you increase on the 5th chain, single crochet up to here. You start your increases, increasing on the 5th chain. So let's do those 2 more rows, and I get you at this point when you have already done the 2 rows.
A few moments later.
I've done the 2 rows, and this is how it looks. Now when you look at these ends where our increases are, you can somehow see how it is, and we want it to be a smooth edge like this one. You can't tell which part our increases were done. So now we want to do the last round of this, of single crochets, no increase. So we single crochet all the way here. When we reach this point, we are not going to do any increase, we just continue doing our single crochets. To the other side we do the same until here. So single crochet all the way round, and I meet you at this point where we are going to be finishing this. So now I'm on the stitch before my last stitch, and in that last stitch we do a slip stitch. You chain 1 to secure your stitch. Now we want to cut a long yarn enough, because we shall be using this to join the 2 sides. So cut a long yarn enough, and then pull it through here to secure that stitch. We do not want our work to undo. So that is the second piece finished. Here is the first one, the gray part. They are equal. Make sure your parts are equal. So now the next step is to interlock them the way this one is. And now to do that, we need to place one piece like this, wrong side up. This is our wrong side. You can cut these excess yarns. It's where we started. So you cut that. Make sure you place it wrong side up. Your wrong side should be on this side. And now you fold like this, so that these slits now fold twice or form 2 foldings like this. You do the same thing to the other piece. Wrong side up, you fold to make that shape, and now you place them this way. Make sure that this piece on this side, the yarn is on this side, and the piece on this other side, this yarn is on this side. So at this point there should be no yarn. Where they are meeting, there should be no yarn. Now when you place it like this, start with this piece on this side, bring it inside this first, I call these ones fingers. let it go inside that first finger. Work with one finger at a time. Now it has gone through that. Now we want the next finger to go inside that gray part, like that. We shall be doing adjustments later. You see, it went through this. Now it is the one on the outside. Now in the next finger, we want to do what we did in the first finger. So let it go inside there. It might be tricky, but the idea is make it go through that. When we finish interlocking them, now we can adjust once all fingers are interlocked. So now with the next finger of the gray color, we do now the opposite of the first finger. In this first finger, it went inside the orange part. Now it is now the orange going inside the gray finger. It goes like that. In the next finger, the gray should go inside. So you just alternate them like that. And in the final, let the orange go inside the gray piece, the gray finger, like that. Don't worry about how it's folding. We shall adjust that when we finish. Now we are on the last finger. That finger should go inside this orange part here. It goes inside there. In the next finger, it should go inside the gray part. It should go in here. Like that. And now finally the gray part should come in here. So now we need to do the adjustments. You just make sure one piece is equal to the other piece. As long as they are well interlocked, they are going to fall into place very well. So make sure no finger is folded. The one you see folded, you unfold. And now I feel it is well interlocked. Turn and see the other side. They are all well. So now we want to start stitching them together. We cannot leave it like this because it is going to come out. So now remember, we have some extra pieces of yarn. We want to join the sides. You can see the sides are open, and on these sides where the orange yarn is, we do not want to see the gray parts. So you can see, let's assume our pink is our orange in this case. Our gray here is seen, our white here is not seen. So we want to hide the gray part inside that orange part, and on the other side we do the same. So now you take your needle and thread that yarn inside the needle. So now you want to go some stitches sorry, you want to go some stitches up where your finishing point is, because we want to leave just an enough space for the opening. So now where your yarn is, you go some stitches up this way, like 3 or 4 of them. And now we start stitching the 2 pieces together. Make sure they are lying flat and the 2 parts are exactly opposite. So now we are taking the front loop of this is it. You take this front loop here, and now take the back loop of the other side, which is this, and stitch them together like that. Again, you take the back loop, the front loop of this side and the back loop of the other side, and stitch them together. You can use any style of finishing. It's not a must to use this one, but you need your edging to be neat. So you take the front, you take the back, just take your time. Don't pull the yarn so tight. We don't want our parts to be folded. So you continue doing this. Continue making your finishing. Now when we get to where the gray yarn is, now we want to hide it. So what we do is, you take, just as you are doing the front loop, take a piece of the gray part and take the back loop. We want, even as we hide the gray part, to be attached to these stitches. So just take a piece of it, and now the yarn, the orange yarn is going to cover the gray part, this part. Again, you do the same. Just take a small piece of the gray and the back loop of that, and continue stitching like that. Continue doing this until we get to the other interlock. Continue joining the 2 parts together. Now when we get to this part, inside here there is nothing to hide. So now we pass the yarn on the needle on the other side. We come to this other side. We continue with what we were doing. Continue stitching the two parts together. Remember to take a small piece of the other color as we are stitching, so that it does not come out once we are done. Just take your time. We are almost done with this part. This side is done. We have stitched this part together. Now the gray part is hidden inside there. The only gray that we want on this side is this, and the same on this side. The only parts that we want to see of the orange are these parts. So now to finish with this yarn, we want it to finish on the other side, the inside side. So bring your yarn in the inside and finish inside there by making a knot. Cut your yarn. This is the wrong side. Now we turn to the right side. This first part is done. The orange part is done. We've already stitched that together. Just adjust well, and that part is done. Now we are left with the gray part, and what we did on this side, it's what we are going to do on this side. Find some stitches above the finishing point, then you start stitching them together. When you come to this part, you pass your needle inside here and continue stitching them together until you get to this point. Bring your needle in the inside and finish at that point. So stitch this side as we did with this other side, and we meet when the Danish hat is completely done. So now it's complete. This is how it looks like. Here is the inside, and you can decide to do this small handle or just leave it like that, depending on what you want it for. If you want to hang, you can decide to have this. If you want it just to place like on a table, or just to use it as a decor, you can leave it like that. So here are my two Danish hats finished, and this is how they turn out to be. Comment down below about this tutorial. Say what you want us to improve on, and comment about this. So to our newcomers, subscribe to this channel, give this video a thumbs up, and to our old members, give this video a thumbs up and comment down below. So thank you for viewing this to the end. I love you all, and goodbye for now.